guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited to have you guys back. I'd love to thank you guys so much for the love that you showed, sending through your questions, the things that you want us to talk about. I really do appreciate that. And I do really apologize. I did get some feedback, people complaining the video is coming out as a box, it's very small, and we're gonna fix it. It didn't look like that on my side, but I'll have a look at it and I'll see. And thank you guys so much for the love, the likes, the comments. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate some of you that went to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. So today we don't have many questions, but we do have uh bigger ones. So try to bear with me and always understand that this is opinion based. If you don't align with what is being said here, it's totally fine. If you don't feel like you've gotten a good answer, don't be angry. It's opinion based. Okay. So our first question is, how do you handle a boyfriend who doesn't communicate? You've told him, but he says that's who he is. He's a liar. He's lying. Love is communication. Every When you love somebody, you communicate. That's how you exchange the love. Like you show consent, and it also depends on what you mean by communication. This is just like the basic communication, like, oh hey babe, how are you doing? I'm on my way there. I'm doing that. That's bare minimum. If you're his girlfriend, you should know what he's doing. You should know what he's up to. It's not like you're telling him to say, oh, hey, babe, let me know when you're in the toilet. Let me know when you get out. Things like that. But if he's saying that's who he is, then he's not being honest with you, because love is communication. When somebody loves you, they want to communicate with you. They want you to know everything about them. It's just automatic. You don't have to, it's not something you have to force. So it's maybe bring it up to him, that's other form of communication. Bring it up to him again and say, you know what, and always know what you want. Is this the person you want to be with? If he's not changing, find somebody else. You're not there to change somebody. If you've brought it up so many times and say, hey, this is how I want to be loved. I want us to communicate. I want us to talk. I don't want to guess what you're doing. I don't want to second guess whether you want this, whether you don't want it. I want you to tell me. And if he's not listening to you, then he's not valuing what you guys have. When you value something, you put effort into it, you know So bring it up to him for the last time and say, hey, look, me, I value communication. Either you're going to do it or I'm going to leave. And be firm with your decisions. Whenever you make those kind of decisions, be firm with them, because the moment you're not firm with them, he's going to look at you and be like, I thought so. You wouldn't leave. So when you make those kind of decisions, and it depends with you, how big of a deal is it? If it's a big of a deal, then it's not going to work. You're always going to be miserable because it's not going to give you that one thing that you value the most. So, yeah. So our second question is, hey T, I've been chatting with this guy for 2 years and he hasn't made us official. Do you think he's a red flag? I think the problem here, to begin with, is you. You're not dating. You're not dating. That's the first thing you need to put in here. You're not dating. Secondly, he doesn't want you. Thirdly, you don't know what you want. Four, you don't know what it's like to be loved. I'm sorry I had to break it down to you like that, because I feel like when we're having a conversation here, we're not sugarcoating things. You need my advice, and I'm going to give it to you as clear as it looks like. If somebody wants you, they will give you clarity. I've told you this before. When somebody wants you, they will give you clarity. You're not going to second guess yourself in that. If he wanted to be with you, he would have asked you. He would have asked you. But he saw in you somebody who's willing to stay, somebody he can do whatever he wants without. Because even if he finds somebody, he's going to tell you, we were never dating. And look at you now. You've invested your emotions, you've invested your time, you've invested your feelings over somebody who doesn't even care enough to put a title to whatever to whoever you are. He's not dating you. Look the other side. Keep looking. Stop giving him the attention. Stop giving him the boyfriend attention. Leave. He doesn't give you that. Leave. He's not a red flag. You are a red flag to yourself. You are a red flag to yourself. You don't love yourself enough to understand when you're being given bare minimum. This is not bare minimum. This is nothing. He's not giving you anything for you to say we're dating. He never asked you. He fences you with a few words. He love bombed you. He told you a few words, and he left you like that. And then you started following him like a puppy. You started wanting his attention. He left you in a phase where you want him. It's gonna go to a point where you're gonna ask him out because he left you in a desperate space where you're confused, where you don't know what you want, where you don't know where the thing is going. Leave. Here, I don't think you don't even have to leave. I don't know. I don't know because you were never anyway. He never asked you out. He never gave you anything for you to think that you're dating. Do you know what this is called, my love? Situationship. This is what it's called. Situationship. You're not dating. He's using you and you're allowing him to use you. So, do I think it's a red flag? No. You are a red flag to yourself. Leave that fella. Leave him. Go look for somebody else. When you find someone that actually loves you, you're gonna look back and think, what did I do to myself all those years? When you are loved, you don't question whether this person loves you or not. When you are loved, you will know. You will know. Leave this man. Leave this man. Today, block, delete. So our third question is, I am tired of getting fake love. From who? I don't know. So this was just what we got. So we're just gonna work with that. You're tired of getting fake love. Whenever you find yourself in a space where you keep meeting the same people, the same character in different shapes and different bodies, you have to stop. Evaluate yourself. What is it about you that's attracting them? What is it about you? What's like your energy? Why is it channeling you to these people? So here is about self-evaluation. Now you have to stop. Now you have to look into yourself and be like, why me? What exactly am I doing wrong to find myself around these people? Let's say it's a group of friends. What exactly am I doing that's making me attract this kind of people? Sometimes you have to pause, sometimes you have to, desocialize yourself from everything. You just have to start with yourself, start loving yourself, start showing up for yourself, start putting so much effort into yourself, and you'll find yourself around people that appreciate you. And I'm sorry that you're facing this because I know it sucks to think that you found friends or you found somebody, your boyfriend or anything like that, and then you just found out like it was all fake, like they don't even care about you. It sucks. I'm not gonna shy away from that. But you've got to stop for a second and think, what is it about me that's making me attract this group of people? Sometimes you find that pattern where you keep meeting the same people. You stop for a second, you're like, oh my god, I could tell you that this person is just a different body, it's just a different, it's got beard, but this is exactly my ex. This is exactly who I was dating before. So sometimes you have to stop and you have to look at yourself and think, what exactly about me is attracting this kind of people? You have to pause. You have to pause your life. Don't keep going and going and going with those people. Sometimes you start to doubt yourself. You'll be like, oh, maybe these are the people that I deserve in my life. Not my love. You deserve love. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be seen. So pause for a second, have a look at what's around you. How do you talk? How do you speak? And see what kind of energy are you absorbing, and it's gonna help you. I believe it's gonna help you. All right. So our fourth question, we've got 8 today. So our fourth question is, how do you know a friendship is toxic, and can you give us an example? Ooh, when it okay. I've been in a toxic friendship before, and I didn't know it was toxic. Not because the other person was toxic and I was toxic as well. You know, whenever you don't know when to leave something, or whenever you don't know when to leave a friendship or a relationship that is expired, it becomes toxic. Whenever okay, but okay, let's leave that. So, how do you know a friendship is toxic? When you're suffocating each other, when you when there's no love, there is control, there is obsession. Like you don't want your friend to have other friends. You want them to yourself, but you don't want to love them. You don't want to love them, but you want them to yourself. And everything you do, you're always questioning, why did they do that? Like, let's say this is from the opposite side. They always want to be around you. They always want to see what you're doing. They're always commenting what you're doing. They always be like, oh, you don't understand. I love you so much. And the friend that if you do something to them, it's wrong. They will tell you off like, this is so wrong. I don't appreciate you doing this to me. But they'll do the same thing to you. It is toxic. Because whenever you understand that this thing is wrong and then you still do it to me, it's wrong. And it can be vice versa. It can be you as well. You're like, okay, she didn't talk to me yesterday, so I'm gonna do it again. There's no communication, there's no love. Like, hey, why were you off yesterday? What were you? It's like, oh, I'm gonna, like that. I don't know, that weird kind of love. There's so much that comes with toxic friendships. Like that jealousy that you feel like you want to justify and be like, it's not jealousy as such, but like you're doing like that weird behavior is toxic. Whenever you keep going back and forth and then you don't know how to leave each other, and then you want them to come into your life, but you don't want them at the same time, and then you they're moving on with other friends, and then you're jealous, but you want them to move on, but that that's toxicity. And I don't know, like, I think I've given you enough examples. Toxicity comes in a form of so many things. They can abuse you emotionally and you wouldn't even know, and then you'll be doing the same to them and they wouldn't even know, and then the two of you will think, oh, this is love. Sometimes you all can trauma bond. Probably maybe both of you have faced something that has strained you, and then you found each other in that moment. You're like, oh my God, we connect so much, but there's no healing that's going on. It's like you're trauma bonding, you're normalizing that feeling, that trauma, that pain. You're normalizing it. You're not dealing with it, you're normalizing it. It can be another form of toxic friendships. So it comes in a lot of form, and you have to pause. Sorry, you have to pause and look at your friendships, and I feel like a lot of people do struggle with friendships, like, um and I do understand, because there's a lot of fakeness in this world. There's no more love. Everyone is looking, what can I benefit from that person? Somebody looks at you and be like, okay, I want that they have. Somebody looks at you and be like, oh, if I play with, I might be able to get this opportunity. If I play with, I might be able to get hey brother, I might be able to get that. I might be able to get this. Like, people are looking for opportunities. People are looking for people they can milk from. So you have to be careful. You have to have discernment. You have to understand, why did this person become my friend? Because friendship is about growth. You know, there's nothing as, you don't have to feel jealous. You have to feel motivated. Like my friend bought this car, you're so excited. You're like, oh my God, how did you do it, babes? Teach me how to save money. Teach me how to do that. So friendship should be about growth. And when you're sitting with them, you're not ashamed to tell them, like, look, I've been dating this guy. You remember that ex that I told you about? He texted me and I responded. There's no shame in correction. You get what I mean? There's no shame in correction. You feel comfort when they're correcting you. You feel okay when they're telling you, like, look, this is wrong. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't be like this. They're not judging you. There's a difference. They're not judging you, but they're correcting you. That's the kind of friendships you should be looking for. People that are able to understand, like, look, my friend is going through this situation. They're there for you, but they're not pressurizing you. Do you understand? So you need to look at the people that you have around you and pause from you and say, all right. And at the same time, you have to look at yourself and say, what am I giving back to my friendships? You know, you're not the only one who's important. They're also important. They also deserve a good friend. And I've seen this quite a lot where people are like, oh, my friends don't even buy me gifts. And you have never looked back and think, have you ever bought them gifts? So this is the problem with people. They think everything has to be about them, but that's not how friendships work. So I hope I did help you. So our fifth question is tips for someone who is going back to dating. I think the biggest tip I could give to somebody who's going back to dating is know what you want. The moment you know what you won't tolerate bullshit. You'll be able to say, look, after you, like, if somebody comes to you and be like, you know what, I'm not really a Christian, you'll be like, pause, bye. Because you know that I want a man that goes to church. I want a man that has a relationship with God, a man that fears God. So whenever somebody comes to you and be like, you know what, I don't really know much about God, you're like, pause, I'm not going to teach you. I need somebody who does this, da 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 da. If you want somebody who plans dates and somebody comes to you and be like, oh, I'm not really an outgoing person, pause, bye. So you know what you want. So this is the best tip I could give you when you're going to dating. Know what you want and always stand firm with the boundaries. Do not compromise your boundaries. Because the moment you start compromising, you continue compromising until you don't even know who you are, until you look at yourself and you're like, this is not the kind of man I pictured for myself. This is not the kind of relationship I pictured for myself, because the everything about that relationship was compromise. So there is no more compromising. Like, let's say, your partner likes to have dinner at 6 and you like to have it at 7. That can be compromised. You cannot compromise character. Cannot compromise behavior. You cannot compromise how somebody speaks. So when you're dating, know what you want and always stand firm with the boundaries. If you're saying, look, I'm not going to I've had sex and it was a mistake and I'm never going to do it again. So when you're dating me, you're coming into my life, they will test you, my dear. Believe me, they will. So when you tell him, like, look, I'm not going to have sex until I'm married. It's either you leave me or you marry me. And he's going, oh, believe me, he's going to say, yeah, I understand. I also believe the same values. We're gonna do that, darling. But he's gonna test you. This is when you have to stand firm with the boundaries. The moment you test you, be like, look, before we got into this relationship, I warned you. I told you we're not gonna be doing this. And then, normal warning. If he does it the second time, leave him. Because now what you're doing is, no matter, even if you love him, now what you're doing is you're teaching him never to play with you, never to play with whatever you say. If you're saying, I need a man that's plans ahead, whenever he squanders money in the club or whatever, and he comes back and you ask him, where did that money go? And then he's like, oh, me and my boys, we just, and then you're like, okay, bye. How dare you take money from your savings account for you to buy liquor? You're gone. I'm not looking at you now. You could never be the father of my children, because you could eat the child school fees because you just want to make other men in the club happy. So you know what you want. That's the best tip I could ever give you. Know what you want and know when to leave. And know your not negotiables and your negotiables. What are the things that you can negotiate and be like, okay, it's fine, like, we can do that. And some people, like, yeah, know your non-negotiables and your negotiables. So our sixth question is, what do you look up for in your big sister? Ooh. So I have a big sister. um she's quite older than me. Not older, but she's not 1 or 2 years older than me. She's older than me. And I think what I look up in her is her ability to overcome so many things. Like, I think it's that resilience is what I saw in her, and it just did something to me. And my sister is a lover girl. She is a lover girl. Like, she loves. And it's something I've got to learn as well, because I've always been somebody who never wanted to be in those kind of areas. But whenever I looked at my sister, I felt so motivated. I felt, I was like, okay, This is the other thing. So she loves, no matter what she's been through, she'll still love. And my sister is very, like, she's a hardworking. She's hardworking. And whenever she puts her mind into something like a goal, she will only stop when she's achieved it. And love, my sister loves us. Like, she loves us, so much that I don't know, whenever my little sisters were being born, I just knew that I'm a sister. I'm not myself. I have sisters. So to me, I don't have sisters only. I have babies. I have I know, like, whatever I'm doing, that's why I'm so cautious with my life. Like, even if I face things, like, let's say I face like betrayal or anything, I deal with it in my own way. But whenever I'm talking to my little sisters, I tell them exactly as it is. And I tell them, this is what it does to you. This is so, don't do this or don't tolerate this kind of behavior because this is what it does to you. So to me, I feel like I'm nurturing them. Whatever that I'm doing in my life, I'm nurturing them because my big sister nurtured me, if you know what that means. Our second from last is, do you think it's wrong to date your friend's ex? Mm-mm. I'm not judging you, I promise. Um, it depends with your values. My values, it is wrong. 100% wrong. I could never look at somebody that my friend dated and be like, oh, this guy is cute. Never. You're never cute. I I think it's more of mentality as well. Like, my friends are my sisters. So to me it's like I could never date my sister's ex. Never. Never. Unbelievable. I could never look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm with my sister's ex. Like, it's so I think it depends with your values. My values would never allow me to do that. It is wrong. Because how are you gonna discuss your relationship problems with your friend? Because you're gonna be like, oh, you remember our man? So I think it depends. Yeah, but if you're asking me, it is wrong. It is completely wrong because have a little bit of respect for your friend. This is the man she loved. I don't even know how you do. I don't know how they broke up or whatever. Even if it was mutual, like, have respect because this is the same man. She came to you and told you the things he was doing to her. How they were doing their dating life, and you don't you feel disgusted? Don't you feel you know so to me, whenever a friend has, even to me, if it's a crush, I don't look at that crush and find that person attractive anymore. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me and the friends I have in my family. My sister, if she's looking at somebody that I'm dating, she'll be like, really, is this what you could pull through? But I know that she doesn't mean it like that, but she's in her mind already, she's told herself, like, of course, yes, she's older. Like, she's never gonna look at the people that I look at. But even if I'm like, I can't even process it properly. I'm sorry, but I don't know. So you're looking for my advice? No, don't do it. There's so many men out there. You know, find your own. Find your own. Less drama, less issues. Because what are you gonna do one day? He's gonna start to compare you with your friend, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, I wish I never really asked you out. I wish I just stayed with um, you know, and non. Some battles are not worth picking up. The last one is, how do you tell a friend they're making a bad decision? You just sit down and tell them. You just sit down and tell them. Sit down and say, babes, he's gonna kill you. But that's what I think friendship's about. I don't have to overthink telling you something unless it's something that's very, very sensitive. But if it's like a decision that they're making which is bad, don't make it like you're being judgmental. Don't make it look like you're trying to come off as superior than them, which is it's a very thin line and people easily cross it. So what I would think is, it depends with how your friendship runs as well. That part, it also depends. So what I would recommend is sit down with them and say, babes, look, I don't know if this is a man or it's a girl, but babes or mandem or whatever you guys call each other, and sit down and be like, look, I don't know if you're gonna take this the wrong way, but it's actually coming from a place of love. I don't think this is the right decision for you. I think you should sit down, pray about it and really, really think about it, because I think this is wrong. I don't think this is the right decision you're making. So I think that could be a way. If you're goofy and whatsoever with your friend, just message them and say, if you want to die, continue with that decision. Continue with that decision. So I think it depends with the kind of friendship you have. How do you usually communicate? It's other things, or do you, and what's, you know, your friends, are they sensitive? Are they willing to hear if you have something to put in? What, and it also depends on what kind of issue is it. If it has to do with love, be very careful, because most people, whenever they're in love, you cannot tell them anything. But for me personally, I've never let my friend make a bad decision. My friends know that I will tell you, and I will tell you every day. I remember there was this other friend of mine. There was this thing that she was doing, and I didn't like that for her, because I knew my friend, she deserved so much better. She could tell you this. I kept telling her every day, like, are you sure? Is it? I kept telling her every day, you don't love yourself. I kept telling her. I kept messaging her. I said, you really look down on yourself. You don't even have self love. You don't. I kept telling her every day. I said, are you sure? You want the whole world to think you don't have self love? I kept messaging her until one day she said to me, Tino, thank you so much for not giving up. I've done that, and I was so happy. And she became very bright. She became very vibrant. And even when that thing tried to come back, she was like, nah, nah, now I see the other side of life that my friend was seeing. So I think it has to do with how you see each other. So I hope I helped you. So we've come to an end. We did had 8 questions today, and I hope I did explain them better, because people were like, "Oh my God, you're so fast. You don't even take time." Because I don't want to make the videos very long. Like, I don't want to make it like an hour, 2 hours. Because I understand like people's attention span is quite. So I hope I helped you. I hope I did answer the questions to your satisfaction. Thank you guys so, so much, and stay tuned for another video. See you next time.